For me, Black trans liberation is the knowing that I am made of love and that I can share my love and exist in a world that will fully support and embrace that. My name is Queen Jean. My pronouns are she and her. I'm the founder and executive director of Black Trans Liberation here in New York City.
Hey everybody, I'm Ashlee Marie Preston. I am a media personality, storyteller, and architect of possibility.
I would love to ask you, Ashlee, how have earlier Black queer movements informed the strategies and the priorities when we talk about Black trans activism today?
I think one of the opportunities I always take is in explaining to people that trans people have always been here.
Yes.
Even Black trans people. And those stories are often erased because they don't fit into this broader construct of what it means to exude Black excellence. And so Black transness is a byproduct of Black excellence. And we have been here, we have been advocating, even when we talk about BLM, it was Black queer women majority in that movement
Right here.
that led that. I want to move back to the episode, more specifically episode 6. And my question for you is how you see Black trans movement intersecting with the efforts that are showcased in episode 6.
Black queer folks and our siblings who were writing, creating, telling stories, depicting the times, but also illustrating something that is this is what it is now, but here's what it could be, right? Let's offer an alternative reality. There is no prerequisite to loving your neighbor. You don't need to have additional skills in order to care for someone and to honor their humanity. You just have to treat them as you would want to be treated. And as simple as that is, it is a very difficult thing for people to achieve.
When I think about what liberation as a Black trans woman is, I think it's each second, minute, hour, day, each and every moment that I find safety and security in my own skin, independent of what's happening outside of me. And personally, while I do know that there's so much work that we have to do, the truth is that there isn't a single entity, institution, or individual that has the authority or clearance to have control over how I experience joy. My question to you is, how do you believe the concept of hope has evolved from movements of the past? And what were the realities in following movements that shaped that evolution? So can you draw a roadmap for us of how we found our way moving in that direction?
I often reflect around the early 60s and 50s to 60s, 70s movement with civil rights and how important it was for our Black leaders and our ancestors to be able to vote. We know in the 1920s, white women were able to vote, or they were able to successfully change that. And so for us in the 50s and the 60s, that did not come with pleasantries. But still, folks were like, we will not stop, right? We must have our right to vote. We must have access just as our neighbors do. So for me, the hope has always been in that we must continue so that we can get free. And that desire and that quest for our freedom has not stopped because we're still not all free.
None of us are free unless all of us are free. And we've said it so many times, but what does it look like in practice? And so I'm always asking this question of who is still not a part of my definition of freedom?
A lot of our own families, I can speak for myself, I came from a family that was deeply struggling and still struggles with accepting, honoring, somehow still believing that trans people can exist. I believe that because we are able to get free, a lot of people harbor a lot of animosity, a lot of people harbor a lot of pain. And I just want to remind people you can get free too. It is not always reciprocal, that understanding about humanity, and that when our trans sisters, our trans siblings are attacked and murdered, there isn't a shared understanding, a shared mutuality of humanity.
What does it look like for those who are listening, watching, and they want to show up better for us? How can they do that?
How do you show up for Black trans people? Well, you respect them. Secondly, then you can begin to share space.
And this is the point that I've been trying to make lastly before we close, is that this is why saviorism and self-sovereignty don't play in the sandbox well together. Because I am past the portion of the program where we're asking for a seat at the table. Let's build our own banquet hall so that they can't tell us to get up whenever they're sick of us. And the whole thing and the whole thing is that we're not asking for a hand up or a handout. You know, we're not asking for people to save us. We're asking for the resources to save ourselves. For those of you who have been watching, who are inspired from this conversation, we want to invite you to see more stories from Black changemakers. And just thank y'all so much for being in community and in conversation with us.
Love you so much. Yay! Love you. Bisous.
See more stories from Black changemakers in the HBO original Eyes on the Prize 3, streaming on Max.